Good morning. This is the
Good
Blaine's World
morning.
podcast, where conversations are worth hearing and seeing. You can watch us each week on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And for more information about past episodes and upcoming stuff, you can check my website, which is behind me, blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, coming to you from my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we share positive news and uplifting stories by people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. And toward that end, it's my pleasure to introduce Carey Harnash, Executive Director of the WNC Harvest and Heritage Foundation, being my guest today. And now, Carey, you can feel free to wave to all your friends and
Hi,
friends
fans.
watching. Okay, this is Carey Harnash. And so, Carey, what I have to ask you when you told me about this upcoming festival is the idea of the WNC Harvest and Heritage Foundation. As a kid growing up, did you always know you wanted to be executive director of a foundation for such an event?
I always knew I wanted to give back to the community in some way. And so it's not that I grew up wanting to take on the executive directorship of a foundation. I've always felt the calling to want to give back and to give more and to be part of something bigger.
Had you ever done anything like this before?
I've been involved with nonprofits probably a good part of my adult life, whether I was raising money for foundations or whether it was sitting on some capacity or whether it was, being on some leadership role. This is the first time being an executive director, though.
Okay, and so that's kind of a trip. So it wasn't something as a kid you always wanted to be executive director of
No,
one.
it
No.
wasn't. I think I wanted to be an astronaut or an ice skater or something. Who knows?
So that fell by the wayside, but then you got involved, and that's how I first met you. I was very impressed. I had known you, but then you were involved in a bunch of years with a food truck festival, which was kind of a cool thing. Uh,
It was. So and I believe I told you on your show back then, it came to me by accident. It was one of those things where I was sitting there talking to my wife about what are we going to eat for dinner. And that went back and forth. And I said, you know what? There's a food truck. I really want their salad. And I'm like, can you look it up really quick on your phone and figure out where the food truck is located? And she's like, it's North Asheville. Well, I live in South Asheville. And I'm like, there's no way I'm driving to North Asheville. I'm sick and tired of chasing these trucks. And I kind of went into this diatribe of blah, 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 and whined a little bit. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this. I'm fed up. I'm going to create an event where I can get all my favorite food trucks in one place and be able to eat. And not have to chase them down and give some money to charity. And so that's kind of how it started. My wife told me I was nuts and I was crazy, and I'm like, you know what? Challenge accepted it. And so that's kind of how it came about. Was she challenged me. I just really wanted to eat some really good food and not have to work too hard for it. And like I said, the food truck was, came about from it. It went from 2013 up to 2020. And the last year, something really cool happened. The Food Network actually reached out to us, and we were able to record an episode on the Food Network. And Dinner Impossible, which is one of their big shows with their chef, specialty chef, or celebrity chef, Robert Irvine, challenged three of the trucks to a duel, kind of a throwdown. And so that went really well and was a really cool experience.
so if folks want to find that one, how do they find it?
If you go to Amazon or one of your streaming platforms, look up Dinner Impossible. It's season 10, episode 2. So if you think of like 10-2 on the steering wheel, like I said, episode 2 of season 10, Dinner Impossible.
And if you tune into that one, will we get to see you on the screen as well?
We do. During this whole thing, when they were talking to me about it, I'm like, okay, and I just really want one thing out of this. I really just want to picture with Robert Irvine. They're like, no, it's your event. You're going to host it. I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to host this? We're talking national TV. They're like, yep, you're going to be in front of the camera. You're going to be hosting the event. You're going to be doing some talking. I'm like, okay, sounds good. Let's do it.
So very cool. So that's when I saw you. And by the way, just so people have an idea for this, how many food trucks did you have at those events usually?
At the highlight, we had over 12,000 people, 24 food trucks, 400 VIP, five live bands, and a whole kids section and an artisan vendor section.
Yeah, very
So
cool
we took
event.
over part of most of the ag center for it.
Yeah, and I think I may have I've been to one of the first ones or the first one, but it was a very, very cool event. So you
Thank
did
you.
that. You did that. And tell me then how you got involved in now this event, the WNC Harvest and Heritage Foundation. But before we talk about the event, what is the Heritage Foundation?
So the WNC Harvest and Heritage Foundation, we kind of came up with the name very cleverly. So the harvest side of it deals with anything with food insecurity. So, being a foodie guy, food truck guy, have to do something with food. And so food insecurity plays a huge role I think Western North Carolina, where need is really needed and is really something that we should strive for. And then the heritage side has to do anything with the heritage or history of Western North Carolina. So the foundation name lends itself to what we want to fund. So we want charities, local charities that write grants to us, and then we're able to fund those. We're not looking to reinvent the wheel. We're not looking to create programs. We just want to be able to raise money and get to those charities that do things really well and really efficiently with what they do and the programs they already have in place.
Now, in terms of all the stuff you've done, including that food truck festival, is this the first time, though, you ever started a foundation from scratch?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, been involved in many foundations in my life, been on many boards, been on the fundraising side, but this is the first time I've actually created one from scratch. And then I'm the executive director with a board that looms over me and makes sure that I stay, straight and narrow.
That must have been some learning experience. How did you learn that? Did you read about it or watch YouTube
No,
clips?
you have really talented people around you. So between lawyers and CPAs, I was able to figure out the most efficient, proper, best way to be able to create the foundation and put it together and be able to put everything in place.
And so the foundation has been off the ground for how many years?
The foundation actually we'll have our first year in October. So
Okay.
we're still brand new. And like I said, the whiskey festival that we're going to talk about here shortly is going to actually be our first fundraiser. So this is going to help. So 100% of the proceeds from the WNC Whiskey Fest will go to the foundation to help then fund our grants or fund the grants that are going to be written to us.
And since you mentioned it, it's just kind of when I saw it, I think I saw it on Facebook or somewhere. I said, "Hey, that sounds like a really cool event." How'd you come up with the idea?
It's one of those things out of necessity. I've chased whiskey all over the country. And what I mean by chase it is there's these festivals that happen in different states and different cities across the United States. And there's no reason why we can't do it here. We have plenty of local distilleries that do really good whiskey. We're also the moonshining capital of the world, right? Where whiskey was kind of invented, so to say. There's no reason why we can't do it in the mountains and do it well. I mean, we're the beer capital of the country. Why not be the whiskey capital of the country? Now, I know that's a bold statement because of Kentucky, but we started it. Why not have something here that we can get behind? And like I said, raise some money for the foundation that can do some really good things locally here in Western North Carolina.
And so talk about, if you would, Carey, what does that entail? So if people come to this event, they're supporting the foundation, but they're also supporting the whiskey festival or call it what you want. What does that mean? What's going to happen?
So you're going to go online before tickets are sold out. You're going to purchase your ticket. There's a couple tickets. There's a general admission ticket, and then there's a VIP ticket. And general admission will get you in there from 1 to 5 o'clock. You'll pay the one fee. You'll come to the event. You'll get a little Glencairn glass, and you'll get to walk around to the different vendors and be able to try whiskey from all over the world. The VIP experience, you get to come in an hour earlier. You also get a catered meal. Plus, you're going to get pours that general admission is not going to get because obviously it's a VIP experience. So it's just a little bit more elevated of an experience with the VIP.
And so how many, I guess, exhibitors or folks will be there if they come to this?
So if you go on our website, so the website is www.WNC whiskeyfest.com. If you go on there, you can see all the distilleries and distributors that are going to be represented. You're going to probably get over 40 pours throughout the day, which is a ton of whiskey. And with that, I do want to strive to say that we're really big on safety and responsibility. So there is designated driver tickets that are being sold. So
Oh,
that will allow you access. It's a nominal fee. It covers costs. It will allow you access to the event, but obviously you don't partake in the alcohol part of it because you're a designated driver. But there are many safe ways to be able to enjoy all the different expressions that are going to be available to you throughout the event.
What a great idea, and so I guess what you're saying, if anybody's listening to this, you don't have to do it, but it's a good idea to get somebody to come with you as a designated driver.
Absolutely. So there, you can use an Uber, you can use a Lyft, you can
But
have somebody else take you, you can have a designated driver. There are many ways to be really responsible, but be able to take advantage of, coming to the event and trying the different whiskeys out there. And this will give you an opportunity, like I said, for those who are whiskey enthusiasts and then also newbies or newcomers to whiskey to be able to try different things that you may not necessarily think that you wanted to try or never had the opportunity to try. Or, whiskey's not cheap. And so when you're spending 80 to $100 for a bottle, you're like, I don't know if I want to buy that. I'd rather go with tried and true. Well, this takes away the excuse of I don't want to spend the money for because it's already included in your ticket price. So it's a one ticketed price. You get to go and you get to try everything.
now, in addition to the whiskey, is there also going to be food available that day?
There is. So, as I said, VIP are going to have a catered meal
Right.
available to them. If you're general admission, there's going to be plenty of food. We're going to have two food trucks. We're going to have a Dare, which is a Cajun food truck that you can purchase food from, or there's Smashville, which is like a hamburger truck. There
Yeah.
will be gluten and vegetarian options available. So don't feel like we didn't think of everything, given the fact that this is Asheville.
And just give a heads up if anybody's thinking of going, if Carrie's involved in something, it's going to be quite a party, in terms of it's just you create a lot of excitement at these events. Aside from that, is there any entertainment as well, or will there be any bands?
There is. We're going to have live music. So we're going to have Crocodile Smile. They're going to be a live band. They're going to be playing in the background. Obviously, they're not going to be in front and the feature of because once again, it's not a rock concert and it's not an outdoor venue, so it's an indoor venue.
Yeah.
So they're going to be background, but we are going to have live music. There's going to be plenty of things to do and see and experience. We also kind of talked ahead of time during the event. There are some add-ons on the tickets that you could partake in if you choose to for a nominal fee. We're going to do the educational series, which I think is really cool. The first one is Inside the Glass, which is a grain to glass. And what happens is we're going to have Riverbend Malt House. They're going to come in and all these educational series, they're limited to 20, 30 people. So actually 20 people. So make sure if you're interested, you get in sooner than later and don't miss out. But what they're going to do is come in, let you feel the grain, smell the grain, and then do a pour over like you would your Starbucks coffee. You get to try the grain and then you get to try a whiskey and you get to pull those notes. So you're going to actually get to see the actual grain and what it does to the whiskey. The second one is going to be done by Beehawk, and that educational series has to do with how to nose and taste and pull flavors from different whiskeys. And so they're going to walk you through the tasting notes and things like that so that you can, how everybody talks about, oh, I get caramel and chocolates and all these different flavors. That's what they're getting. That may not be what you're necessarily getting. So this kind of takes I guess the experience of it's your experience and what you're getting out of it is what we're looking for, and being able and having you to be able to pull those notes out so you actually sound like one of those sophisticated whiskey people.
Now,
The
I don't think you
I'm sorry, I was
mentioned.
going to say the third one, which is
Yeah.
really neat as well, and it's a local distillery, The Chemist. They're going to have the finishing series, and what that deals with is how you take a whiskey and then how you use different woods or different barrels to add or to change the flavor of the whiskey to a different profile. So, like I said, excited about those three.
Now, I don't think we mentioned it, Carrie, but where is this going to take place?
This is going to be at AV Tech's conference center. So, if you're familiar with Mission Hospital downtown,
Right.
just behind it, AV Tech has their campus. Well, they have a huge indoor conference center. We rented out the conference center. It's going to be held indoor. There's a ton of free parking, so you don't have to worry about parking. They have a huge parking garage, so plenty of parking. Not a problem with that. Free parking. Like I said, you already have your ticket by then. We're going to cut it off at 500. You come in and just enjoy the festival, enjoy the day.
Now, you mentioned the cover for 500. So if people want to get tickets, again, the best bet is going to be what? If you give the website
If
again.
you got to go to the website. So the website is WNC Whiskey Fest, FEST.com. So WNC Whiskey Fest, you'll go on the website, you'll get to purchase the tickets, you'll see the distilleries, all the other information is on there. And then if you want to add any of those add-ons, and what I didn't mention is leading up to it, we're also going to have the week of whiskey.
I
So
was
there's
going to ask
other
you.
additives. We're going to have a cigar because, cigars and whiskey pair really well. So we're going to have a cigar and whiskey Thursday night. And once again, these are limited to 30 tickets. And then Friday night, we're going to have a high-end Scotch tasting. So this one I'm also super excited about. If you're a Scotch person, you're never going to see this at this price level. So I think it's like $50. For $50, you're going to get six different expressions of two different brands. One is Glen Scotia and the other is Loch Lomond. The Glen Scotia person is going to bring a 25-year-old Glen Scotia. You're not going to get that pour for $50. I don't care where you go in America. So good luck with that. So the fact that you're getting six for something less than what you get for one is a heck of a deal. And it's also going to be led by the gentleman who's leading it, Brett. He actually has a certificate from the Institute of Edinburgh on Scotch tasting. So he's going to walk you through that. And it's going to be held at a private person's estate.
I have to ask you, Carey, where do you come up with these ideas?
I don't sleep at night, and I just lie awake and think about, oh, how can I do something, unique and creative? And so I've always, part of what I wanted to do with anything that I do is not only come up with a really cool event, but I would like to educate people along the way and make it something that all my stakeholders get something out of more than just walking around and trying different whiskey. It's also getting an experience and getting some education and learning some things. And just, I wanted more behind it than just a whiskey tasting.
And what you've done, which I think is really cool, is aside from the educational component, you also have the fact that you are doing good for the community. So it's not just
Correct.
that people are going to get wealthy on this. It's that the plan is to give money back to the community and talk a little bit about that process. So I think you've always done that with events you've run, that they all have
Yes.
a component giving to the community. So what will the community get from this festival?
Well, once again, once we, what I don't know what the proceeds are going to be, but whatever the proceeds are, they go 100% go to the foundation. And then what happens is we're going to look for the different charities out there, the different nonprofits out there that are doing things really well. And like anything else, they're going to write grants to us. We have a board that will look at those and fund them based on need and what they do and how much they need and how well they do it. I'm not going to try to compete with those nonprofits that do what they do really well and already have programs and people in place to be most efficient.
So if somebody is watching this or interested, they're a nonprofit, especially involved in this field, can they contact you or do they get in touch with you or do you find them? How is that going to work out?
No, they're gonna contact us, and then once again, they're gonna write a grant to us, and then we're gonna review that grant, and we're gonna put it through a process just like any other um, uh, nonprofit would do if they're funding grants. Same process. So it's contacting us, reaching out to us, like I said, writing the grant and asking the need and seeing what the need is and see if it makes sense. And then also that you're local. We want to make sure that the money stays local. That's very, very important to us.
And so that information will also be at the website eventually?
It will be, absolutely.
Okay. And so I just love speaking to you in terms of trying to figure out what's next for Carey Harnash. So this, knowing you, you're probably working on year two, you're probably working on year two as to making, and what's so cool about what you do is each year it's better and better. You grow with it. Is that kind
Exactly.
of, are you already thinking about that year two? Or that's
It's funny. Everybody asks me the same question. So, what's your expectation from year one? I go year two. You know what I mean?
straight
It's
line.
it's the first year is always the toughest because you don't know. And nobody knows from any of the stakeholders, whether it be the different vendors, whether it's people that are showing up for the event, you never know. And so we just got to get through the first year. I think, I put my heart and soul to it, just like I did with the food truck event. So my goal is for everybody to have a really good experience, to walk out happy, because guess what? If you're happy, my year two should be a lot easier. And so that's my ultimate goal is just, make it a really good year and make it to year two and then have a really, have something that's an annual event that the community looks forward to, and then we can raise more money, grow it, and then do more with it.
Refresh my memory, if you would, with respect to the food truck. Was there a fundraising aspect to that, or did money go to charity?
There was. We always, like I said, the difference was this is more formalized than it was with a food truck. With a
Right.
food truck event, I always penned a check to, I always called it a four-legged and a two-legged. And what I mean by four-legged, we always pick like an animal, different shelter or no kill shelter. And we said, okay, here, we're going to give you X amount of dollars. And then two-legged, I always picked a two-legged. And in fact, the funny thing is, when the Food Network contacted me for our last year and we actually did the filming of the event, 100% of the proceeds went to Blue Ridge Honor Flight, which was awesome. So
Right.
we raised over $7,000 to help them fund their flights to DC with veterans to be able to see the memorials.
So that's very exciting just for that one event. And that's, which is
Just one event,
cool.
over $7,000. And like I said, that went directly, 100% of proceeds went directly to Blue Ridge Honor Flight. So I enjoy doing those types of events where, you know that you're doing something a lot of fun, but the benefit to whoever comes is not only getting to experience something really cool and a really nice event, they're also helping people and helping the community at the same time. So it's like a two for one.
So in terms of after we get, and I love what you said about year two. That's a great line. What's your goal to have year two? In that mind of yours, are you also thinking about other things down the road that you might want to do?
Absolutely. We're always thinking of ways to raise money and make, have really cool events that the community can get behind and be proud of, and we can grow and just have a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy putting on events. I enjoy being able to help the community and help people. So if I can do all that in one shot, sign me up, I'm in. And that's why I'm doing this.
Now, I have to give a shout out as we're talking. I'm smiling because I'm thinking of your dad, and if he's listening, Sheldon, you better be listening or watching this with your mom, Janice. But that's what your dad was all about, also. In terms of giving back to the community. And
Right.
if you're watching Sheldon or Janice, I'll say hey there. But this is quite something you got your son into because he used to do those same kinds of things. He do that all his life, run events?
Who, my father?
Yeah.
Yeah, my father was always big on my father always had a big heart. And I think that's one of the things that kind of rubbed off on me. It's you always want to help people because by helping people, you're helping yourself grow. And I think growth is one of the most important things. And I think self-growth and self-worth and being able to give back to your community it means a lot. And he's instilled that in both myself and my sister that, charity starts at home, but also you want to be charitable. And so make sure that you make that part of who you are.
Reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, and it's from somebody by the name of Shirley Chisholm. And she was a politician. She was first black congresswoman in New York State, and she would say, "Service is the rent we pay for living on Earth." And we're
It is.
here to serve other people. And to your credit, I so admire that you do these kinds of things. 10 years from now, aside from being in the 10th year of this festival, do you have anything else you see yourself doing 10 years from now?
That's a tough question. I don't know. I'm hoping to still do this and be able to create other events that are worthy of the community, that are worthy of the foundation, and that hopefully help us to help once again the community. That's the goal. I mean, it's you know create something that everybody's excited about and wants to be part of.
And what's so much so cool about it that you also have fun with it too. So there's something
Absolutely.
different that, again, it's just the first time anything like this has ever been done in Nashville.
Yes, we are the first one to do a whiskey festival. There's been a ton of beer festivals, but nobody's done a whiskey festival. And so, I'm going to go through the growing pains and get all bloody going through the fence, but you know what? It's worth it because, somebody always has to be the first. And if you're not the first, you're copying somebody else. And I don't want to be copying somebody else. I want to be the originator. Hence with my food truck event, I was the originator. That's what made it so successful is first one to do it. And so that way it branded the brand.
Well, this is certainly unique, I think, to the Asheville area, which is really cool to be able to do something like this. So I'd like to thank you for being my guest on this edition of the Blaze World podcast, excuse me. I also like to thank my producer, Cappy Tassetti. Hopefully we'll see you, if not at this event, something in the near future, man. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would love to give one quick shout out to,
Please.
some of there's a couple of sponsors who are really awesome and were really helpful in giving us proceeds to be able to do what we do. One is Explore Asheville. They have been awesome to
Great.
work with. Amazing nonprofit organization, very big on community, very big on nonprofits. The other one is AB Tech. I don't know if people know this, they have a fermentation distillation program and they're actually nationally known and they've been awesome to work with, and they're also going to be part of the event, so I would look for them and to see some really cool things that they're going to do and bring to the table at the event. And I'm not going to give it all away. Come to the event and find out.
Okay. Well, all right. Thanks, man. Speak to you soon. You be
All
well.
right, thank you.